year, the Chevy employee discount is for everyone. So right now you can lease a new 2020 Chevy Trax LS for as low as $119 per month. This is a 30 lease and approved credit. Check them out at Calusi.com. Find new roads at Calusi Chevrolet.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka puts the impeachment process into perspective.
How sporting of them. The president is abroad on official business, representing the United States, the most powerful nation in the world, in the most successful military alliance. But no, they're going to impeach him at home.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before John Steigerwald at 5 on AM 1250. The Answer.
The Invisible Man has appeared. That's right. He actually showed up and he did some TV interviews, including this one with WTAE, where he was asked if he would be voting to impeach Donald Trump.
Yes, I will.
Why?
I think the articles fairly capture what the investigation showed, and it took me a long time to get to this point. The witnesses came forward one after another saying this put our national security at risk, and we can't have that.
Well, yeah, some witnesses did. And there you have it. He said he's been thinking about it for a long time, and we've been trying to contact him for a few months and haven't gotten a response. Lamb is running against Sean Parnell in the 17th District. That's a district where Donald Trump blew out Hillary Clinton, and Sean Parnell is on the line right now. Sean, thanks for being here.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So any surprise there from Mr. Lamb?
Well, if he were going to vote for impeachment, why the heck didn't he tell us months ago? You know, I guess I'm slightly relieved because at least we know where his loyalty is. His loyalty is with his party, Nancy Pelosi, 97% of the time with her. And what people don't know, and I keep telling them over and over again, is he's 90+% of the time with AOC, Ilhan Omar, and the squad. United States Congressman is to represent the people. Waste of time for the American people. They've wasted years on this impeachment instead of passing legislation that would help the people at PA 17, like USMCA. USMCA would create thousands and thousands of jobs here. It would be a major boost to the Western Pennsylvania economy, but he hasn't focused on that. They've done nothing but focus on impeachment. I think come 2020, it's going to hurt him.
So if I can play the devil's advocate here, is he's showing great courage by voting for this, even though it may not be popular in his district.
You know, he also said that his job was to be a tight-lipped juror, which to me is a joke. The job is to take a side. The job is to vote, right? If you want to go be a tight-lipped juror, go volunteer for jury duty somewhere. You know, this investigation. And by the way, I don't like getting in the weeds and debating the merits of the investigation because the premise of the investigation is a sham to begin with. So right. The facts after the fact don't really matter to me. So the president, I still don't know what the crime is. Impeachment is a serious deal. There's not been the president of the United States has committed no crime. So why, in God's name, are we still focused on this impeachment nonsense?
You know, if you think about it, it seems to me that the only thing that would be more important and more impactful than voting for impeachment would be voting for a declaration of war if you're a congressman. I mean, all these other things are nice, the laws that you vote for and, you know, the laws that you debate, and but it's hard to come up with anything more important than that, than voting to impeach the president.
Well, yeah, and look, John, the reason why they're doing this right now is twofold. One, for Conor, he has to rile up his base. If he doesn't vote for impeachment, he gets a primary. And that's a bad thing for him.
Oh, okay.
But you know, and the second part of it is is the national Democrats. And again, I don't even like saying Democrats in general because my grandfather was a lifelong Union Democrat. This party is not his party anymore. You know, they've been co-opted by the radical left. So the far left Democrats, the ultra left, they know that they cannot beat Donald Trump in 2020. So they have to undo this election. And they have to undo the election and prevent him from running for office in 2020. That's the whole point. They know they can't win. They don't have anybody that can win.
So the election is still 11 months away. Will it be fresh enough in voters' minds to still be a huge factor? I know you'll make sure they remember. You'll remind them if it's not. But is it going to linger that long?
I think so. Look, I mean, President Trump's supporters helped Conor Lamb take office in 2018. And if you're someone who voted for President Trump in 2016 and then voted for Conor Lamb and also President Trump in voted for President Trump and voted for Conor Lamb in 2018, you're fired up. The people of Western Pennsylvania aren't going to soon forget this. I mean, tens of thousands of people in PA 17 voted for President Trump. Over 60 million people in the United States voted for President Trump. Their voice matters. And the fact that the Democrats are voting to impeach this president 11 months before an election is absolutely ridiculous, and it's a slap in the face of every American citizen who values our constitutional republic.
Yeah, and I didn't see the whole interview or any of the interviews he did on television, but I have a sneaking suspicion. I don't want to. Maybe it's unfair for me to say it, but I have a sneaking. Maybe that proved me wrong.
It's true. I mean, but this is if you're a Republican, if you're a conservative, the job is to go to where the people are and really not really worry about any of the other stuff. If you watch some of the Democratic debates, they'll typically ask the Democrat candidates hey, what's your favorite puppy? They don't get tough, difficult questions.
Right.
It's just a fact. Republican as a conservative, I think we have the right message, but the way that you win is you outwork your opponent, you go right to the people and talk to them, have a difficult conversation. You have difficult conversation, you do the hard work of building relationships with people. I mean, that's what being a representative leader is all about. And as you say, he's the invisible man. Everywhere I go, everywhere in this district, and I've been all over the district every day for the last month since I've been in this race, everybody that I talked to said, oh my gosh, I can't remember the last time I saw Conor Lamb.
Yeah, we have a theme song for him. We don't have time for it today, but we have a theme song for him called. It's a song by The Who that I found, and I think it's just the name of it is just Invisible. I only got 2 minutes left here. I want to ask you because yesterday I talked to someone who commented on a story that the Post-Gazette had about a study done by Carnegie Mellon on fracking. And pretty much what it said was that people are dropping like flies, dying everywhere in western Pennsylvania because of fracking. That's going to be a big issue, isn't it?
It's absurd. I mean, look, part of my campaign and part of my campaign narrative is going to be defending and being a warrior for energy. There are over 117,000 energy jobs, and then we're talking people that work on fracking sites in western Pennsylvania. And any one of these Democratic candidates, they come in, they're going to, with a stroke of a pen, put 100% of those people out of work and ban fracking on federal and private land. That's unacceptable. People's lives and livelihood are at stake. And I will tell you this, I've been on fracking sites. I've talked to from executives on down to people that are working on the wells. There is no greater protector of the environment than the people that work on those sites. There's no greater protector of the environment than people who actually work in the environment. These people are patriots. And again, the energy industry in western Pennsylvania is a major pillar of our economy, and I am not going to let these radical environmentalists and radical leftists destroy it.
I'm up against a hard break. I got about 30 seconds. What has Lamb said on that issue?
Well, he says that natural gas is a bridge fuel. Bridge to what? I don't know. But if I'm working in that industry, if I pull the lever for Conor Lamb, I think it's just polishing the brass in the Titanic. Your job is not safe if you vote for him.
Hey, Sean, I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. We finally got a comment from the Invisible Man. I'm glad to have you on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right. And that's thank you, Sean. And that's Sean Parnell. He's running against Conor Lamb, who said today that he will vote to impeach the President of the United States. And we will be right back. Stick around.
We're living in a very successful, affluent society for many people. Yet it's also true that there are people that are being left out of that. And how do we reach those people? Employment program to connect with workforce development, to look at the skill gap that exists. And so we're partnering with places like the community college. We're taking our clients, once they are clean and they are ready to move on, now they can actually get credentialed in an area where they can be hired to work with UPMC or Google or Amazon or these other places. And so it provides an on-ramp for those who are society.
Help someone else find their comeback story. To become a monthly partner or make a one-time gift, visit lightoflife.org/give today. lightoflife.org/give.
Confusing, tedious, worse than a math test. That's how most Americans describe shopping for health insurance. Yep, open enrollment is here again. You have until December 15th to choose something very expensive that you hope to never use. And if that makes you want to stick a red-hot poker in your eye, call Marley Financial. Marley has every plan available in the tri-state, but they also offer some of the most innovative solutions to tackle the high cost of health care. Heard of first dollar benefits, the most expensive part of a health plan? They're great if you visit the doctor a lot or take medications, but if you're healthy, why pay it? A catastrophic plan through Marley may be all you need. Or how about a high deductible plan you can pair with a supercharged HSA? Not all plans qualify, but Marley's do, offering double benefits to cut your out-of-pocket costs in half. Call Marley Financial today at 724-884-1496 for a custom-designed health plan with the coverage you need at a price that's right for you. 724-884-1496 or at marleyfg.com.
Like the rest of us, you're probably tired of all those annoying sales calls to your home telephone number. Now, there's a solution. OurOldNumber.com will block those pesky robocalls from getting through, and most live sales calls will hang up. So how does it work? Callers to your home telephone number will hear a personalized greeting from you. The caller selects the family member they wish to reach, and the call is immediately forwarded onto the family member's cell phone. There's no equipment to buy, there's nothing to install, no long-term contracts. It's still your phone number and remains in directory assistance. The service is only $9.99 per month, and you can eliminate your landline connection and save money. Now, calls to your home phone number can reach any member of the family wherever they are and get rid of those annoying sales calls. OurOldNumber.com. It's just $9.99 per month. Go to OurOldNumber.com to learn how you can get started blocking sales calls today. That's OurOldNumber.com. OurOldNumber.com. You'll be glad you did.
They blow into town with the wind, rain, and hail. And out-of-town storm chasers going door to door, often posing as a local company offering a quick fix to desperate homeowners. If you've had damage to your roof, windows, siding, or gutters and downspouts, you may be eligible to get them replaced or repaired free of charge. Just be careful who you call. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com for a free inspection from one of their highly trained appraisers. With over 50 years in home remodeling, Windows R Us is the area's premier exterior replacement company for roofs, siding, gutters and downspouts, doors, and of course windows. If damage isn't your issue and you just want something new, you'll love their no-pressure approach, no hidden fees, and one of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. A company who will never skip town when it comes to honoring their warranty. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. Mention STAG for an additional 10% off. Windows R Us, proud sponsor of the Jerk of the Week, heard every Friday on the John Steigerwald Show. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
You're listening to the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250. The Answer.
Well, Betsy DeVos might be the most unpopular person in the Donald Trump cabinet among liberals, and that's saying something. She's the Secretary of Education and a big fan of school choice, which they hate. She's also been trying to bring some sanity to college campuses and how the colleges deal with men who have been accused of sexual assault. It's been a nightmare for lots of men who turned out to be innocent. Susan Kruth is the senior author at F.I.R.E. That's the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. She joins us now. Susan, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess the first question is, have things gotten any better for men on college campuses? Men who have been accused of sexual assault?
Well, I would say that overall, for the past several years, things have were in those cases, but the bottom line is that students need fundamentally fair hearings before they're punished for alleged wrongdoing.
Yeah, so at F.I.R.E, you guys are trying to against that. What are the new proposed Title IX regulations that are out there now that you guys are dealing with?
So the new proposed regulations, if they're enacted, they guarantee students a number of the students would be presumed innocent, for example, would receive notice of what they supposedly did wrong in some detail, and they would have time to really prepare for their cases. They would receive a live hearing in these cases, which many students do not get right now, and they would get an advisor cross-examine witnesses and the other party. And all of these different elements are so essential for fair hearings. So we really hope to see these provisions enacted soon.
Well, they're so essential, you would wonder why they even have to be brought up. They wouldn't have existed in the first place.
Exactly. I mean, there's a reason why all these things are, standard and guaranteed in civil and criminal courts, and that's because they help fact finders in each case figure out the truth of what really happened where the facts are contested.
Yeah, and so the new proposal, the Title IX regulations, they are going to, you hope, solve some problems. But how have the 70% of schools justified not guaranteeing the presumption of innocence up to that point? I think the number you
some of them just think that it sort of goes without saying, and they don't understand that if that's not written clearly in the policies, not every administrator applying those policies and procedures is actually going to, in practice, give a student a presumption of innocence. And so really clarity and consistency in the written policies is so essential, and I think not necessarily everyone knows that or is thinking about that when they're putting together these policies.
Yeah, it seems to me, I mean, I also have a discussion here, and this is taking place on college campuses, but how is it that if it's rape or sexual assault that someone is accused of or someone is claiming someone did to them, how does the university, the college, get in between that and law enforcement? If it's a rape, why am I dealing with the dean? If I feel like I've been sexually assaulted, why am I even going to them and not going to the police?
Right. Well, the reason behind that really has a lot to do with just Title IX jurisprudence and case law as it's developed over the years, particularly in the 80s and 90s. There were a series of cases that established that a school has an obligation to respond to and help prevent hostile environment harassment. And so the basic idea behind things was that if a school knows about harassment or assault that's happening and they don't take measures to make sure that the victim can continue their education safely despite that or, after that, the school is effectively continuing and taking part in that sort of hostile environment harassment. So as a result, schools are legally obligated under Title IX to respond in some way. Now, there's lots of debate over whether that necessarily should include this whole adjudicatory process that they now are engaged in. But right now, it's sort of, it's definitely the status quo. And so we're just trying to make sure that as long as they're doing that job, that they're at least doing it in a way that's as fair as possible.
But does it still happen that if a woman believes that she's been sexually assaulted, that she bypasses the school and goes right to law enforcement? And does the school stay out of it then, if that's what happens? The
school generally does not stay out of it. It's, of course, in any given case, a victim could decide to go to the school or the police or both. And really, there are different processes and different remedies that each can provide. So, of course, the school can't send a student who assaults someone to jail, but the court also can't necessarily arrange for, academic and housing accommodations the way that the school would be able to. They serve different purposes. We still think that it's good for things to go through the criminal justice system. But in any case, what's really most important is that whatever procedure is used has procedural safeguards to make sure that students aren't unjustly punished.
We're talking to Susan Kruth. She's lead author at F.I.R.E., that's Foundation for Individual Rights in Education. Betsy DeVos, is she the one that's pushing for this, and how much pushback is she getting?
This administration is the one that is taking those steps towards due process in Title IX cases, and she is getting a lot of pushback too. There were I think something close to 200,000 comments on the proposed Title IX regulations, and truly many comments on sort of both sides of things. People asking for the procedural safeguards that we're advocating for and that are in the proposed regulations, and then a lot of people saying that it was better back when the 2011 Dear Colleague letter was sort of treated as the law of the land. And we're optimistic right now that those procedural safeguards are going to be finalized as the regulations, but there is a lot of debate on this topic.
And there's I was looking at some of your material, and there's a First Amendment issue involved with this sexual harassment. Can you explain that?
Previously, the Office for Civil Rights had stated in a letter after an investigation of the University of Montana that sexual harassment should be defined as any unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature, conduct including verbal conduct. And so with this incredibly broad definition of sexual harassment, essentially anything related to sex or sexuality in any way that someone found offensive could potentially be punished. Person receiving their education, while still ensuring that people can have really robust debate on issues that may be related to sexuality, as it should be allowed on college campuses. So that's been an ongoing battle, and again, we're hoping that these proposed regulations will include that narrow definition of sexual harassment that comports with the First Amendment, but still allows schools to respond to really serious conduct.
I only have about a minute left, and we had a story here about a kid from Michigan State University, a wide receiver. He had triple jeopardy that he had to deal with, and the third time that it came up, they got him for sexual assault, or I forget what the exact charge was. He was thrown out of school, lost his spot on an NFL team. Will that be changed with this double jeopardy?
Unfortunately, it probably will not be, although we don't obviously have the final text in front of us. But that is obviously something that due process advocates do have a problem with, that essentially, these cases can be appealed even after a student is found not guilty, and perhaps the school gets several bites at the same apple, and then finally, they find a student guilty when other fact-finding panels haven't, and it's a rough situation out there. But that part of things may unfortunately keep happening.
Well, the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education is doing good work out there, and Susan, I thank you for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's Susan Kruth of the Foundation for Individual Rights in Education, and we'll be right back.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Another Republican amendment to the Articles of Impeachment is struck down.
Matt Gaetz introduced an amendment to H.Res. 755 to remove the name of former Vice President Joe Biden from the Articles of Impeachment and instead name his son Hunter. By a party line vote of 24-17, that amendment failed. House Republicans continue to introduce amendments to change the nature of the Articles of Impeachment. Earlier today, an amendment was struck down to kill the abuse of power article of impeachment against President Donald Trump.
Correspondent Bernie Bennett reporting from Capitol Hill. Though split sharply along party lines, the panel is expected to send the two articles of impeachment to the full House for it to take pre-Christmas action next week. The two parties continue to clash heatedly over the two charges that President Trump faces. On Wall Street, a good day as the Dow was up by 220 points. The Nasdaq rose 63, the S&P 500 up by 26. This is SRN News.
Haul packages for a living? A gas-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter delivers. Transport people? A Sprinter van with 0% financing is a 5-star idea. If food delivery is your thing, then a gas Sprinter caters to you. And if you're a general contractor, the Sprinter with 0% financing nails it. With innovation, safety, and technology, Sprinter is built for you. And 0% financing. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, starting at just $33,790. And for a limited time with IRS Section 179, you could be eligible for up to a $25,000 tax deduction. Gas engine, 0% financing, and a possible tax deduction? Now that's a Sprinter that delivers. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, tax, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Only valid on 2018 or 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans excluding cab chassis. Qualified commercial customers only. Financing offer valid through January 2nd, 2020. Consult your tax advisor. For more information, limits may apply. Visit mbvans.com.
Larry Elder says the dots just don't connect.
But he wasn't going to run in 2020, right? He's going to cash out, right, Joe Scarborough? So why then would he pressure the president of Ukraine to do something that would give him an advantage in the re-election race, a re-election race that only a few months ago you guys said he wasn't interested in running? This thing on? I don't think this thing is on.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 7 on AM 1250. The Answer.
This is Jay Hagerman of Abernathy & Hagerman. Upon your passing, you wouldn't want a judge to decide who raises your children or how your estate is divided. It is important to review your estate planning documents to ensure they protect what matters most. At Abernathy & Hagerman, we will work with you to establish an estate plan that nominates a guardian for your minor children and that your assets are used for your family's benefit. Judge for yourself. For legal help that lasts a lifetime, visit a-h.law.
Hey, Pittsburgh, this is Tunch Ilkin from my good friends at Calusi Chevrolet. Now through the end of the year, the Chevy employee discount is for everyone. Right now, you can save over $11,000 RP on select 2019 Silverado All-Stars, or you could save over $6,000 off the MSRP on select 2020 Equinox. These deals won't last, so hurry in now for the best selection. Check them out at Calusi.com. Find new roads at Calusi Chevrolet.
We're surrounded by noise, bombarded by information, messages struggling to get attention. So many choices and ways to reach customers. Your message needs to cut through and stand out. Today's technology can do that, but you need the resources and know-how to make it all work. You need Salem Surround. With all the digital marketing tools available and necessary to compete in today's business world, you need to know how to use all the options efficiently. Our team at Salem Surround has the expertise to manage all your digital marketing under one roof. We know digital marketing and how to deliver customers so you can run your business. Get started with a free evaluation of your digital presence and some great ideas to increase your online visibility and revenue. For no limitations on how and you can reach customers, there's Salem Surround. Total market penetration for increased ROI. Learn more at surroundpittsburgh.com. Surroundpittsburgh.com. Connecting you with new customers.
Hundreds of ministries have discovered the success of a partnership with OnePlace.com, the largest online Christian broadcast platform on the web. Here's Greg Laurie.
By partnering with OnePlace, we've been able to expand our online ministry in a way that complements our current web strategy for maximized outreach and impact.
And Dr. David Jeremiah.
Many of the new listeners we reach here each day through OnePlace are now faithful ministry supporters.
Introduce your ministry to our audience. Visit us at oneplaceradio.com.
AM 1250, The Answer. Weather.
A couple of clouds in the sky for tonight with a low of 26. Mainly cloudy tomorrow with a bit of afternoon rain and a high 41. Tomorrow night, times of rain with a low 35. Saturday, periods of morning rain. Breezy during the afternoon with a little rain mixing with, then changing to snow with a high of 42. And on Sunday, a morning flurry or two. Otherwise rather cloudy, breezy and colder with a high of 34. With your AccuWeather forecast, I'm Gregory Patrick.
This is the John Steigerwald Show on AM 1250 and FM 92.5. The Answer.
Gun-free zones have been a target for people who want to use guns illegally to hurt or kill other people. They've also been a target for gun rights groups who believe that they're just invitations for bad people to do bad things with guns. Happened twice on military bases this month. Mark Walters is a national board member of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Bear Arms. He joins us now. Thanks for being here, Mark.
Well, John, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
So there have been 2 shootings at military bases this month, and that has raised the question again about why the men and women on the bases aren't allowed to carry guns. Has that always been the case, that they've not been allowed to carry guns?
Bill Clinton instituted that rule during the Clinton administration.
That was nice.
And it's been that way ever since. And between you and I, if I remember correctly, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, I seem to remember Donald Trump campaigning on that issue when he was talking about gun rights. He ran the most pro-gun campaign that I've ever seen in my lifetime for president. And I remember that being a part of the campaign, and he said it was crazy that we had our military bases disarmed. So I'm shocked that nothing's been done about that yet.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that something will be done about that in the very, very near future.
Yeah, as the commander...
Should be done by executive order right away.
Yeah. I was going to say, as the president and the commander-in-chief, you would think that it would just require a phone call. Hey, guys, let them carry guns. That's the end of it.
That's it.
That's it?
That's all that should have to happen. It's astonishing to me that it has not. Let me ask you this question. I'd like to ask listeners to walk with me here also. Would you be shocked if you pulled up to the gate of a U.S. military base and saw armed troops walking around the military base? Would that shock you?
No, I'd be terrified, yeah. They might shoot me.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess if you're a snowflake.
So,
you have to run back to yours. Maybe they need to put safe spaces around the military bases, too.
Yeah, right. So do you know what the reason for it was? I'm just wondering. I don't remember it. When if it was Bill Clinton, that's at least 20 years ago. I don't remember it, but I wouldn't imagine that it went over all that well with military people, that they were told that they couldn't carry their sidearms with them.
John, I do not remember what the reasoning and the rationale for that was. What I know now is that it has to be changed, and it has today.
Yeah, and it's the old gun-free zone, and I'm just, what is it about gun-free zones that people don't seem to get, that it doesn't make people safe?
Ideology, intellectual dishonesty, someone who's reacting on emotion and not thought process, which is basically the basis of socialist Democrats in today's day and age. They react based on emotion, not thought process, or they're just simply being intellectually dishonest and are pushing an agenda in lieu of the facts, what they know to be the facts and the truth, as the gun prohibitionist crowd funded by Michael Berg does every single day, all day. Let me give you a point here. I hear individuals talking about, for example, the gun-free zone base being a gun-free zone, and how if the gun-free zone didn't exist, those individuals would have had an opportunity to shoot back. You've heard that argument, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
How about I present this to you? If the base wasn't gun-free, the incident wouldn't have occurred in the first place, because the individual knows that everybody there is armed.
Right.
So he wouldn't have done what he did in the first place. We wouldn't have to be worried about shooting back. The individual would have picked a different target or wouldn't have picked a target at all. That's the deterrent of not only an armed base, but of armed teachers, armed schools. We arm banks, we arm buildings, and we won't arm our schools, and we don't let our military arm themselves on the base. How many times do we have to see this? How many more Americans do we have to lose?
Yeah, it's the shooting by the Saudi. I guess they're still investigating and deciding whether they want to call it an act of terrorism, which it seems like it was to me. But it's a military base where you are advertising to the terrorists that, hey, we have all the people you hate. They're right here on the base because you hate our military. They don't have any guns. So if you're looking to kill some people, just come on down here.
Of course.
It's just
We've
so
left them wide
obvious.
open. We've left them wide open, and frankly, to me, when I look at something like that, I shake my head and I think, again, why are we doing this? It simply doesn't make any sense. It's like sending our police forces out without firearms. Go out and do your jobs, guys, girls, but don't carry a gun.
Yeah, no,
it makes no sense.
I wasn't in the military, and I've never spent any time on a military base. What would it look like if they were walking around armed? It wouldn't mean that every single person you see would be carrying a gun or showing a gun, and they wouldn't be walking around with long guns. I wouldn't think it would be. They would be if they wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd see, uniformed troops walking around with their thigh rig on, with a pistol. You'd see some with long guns, but that's completely normal and natural at a military installation. It should be.
You would
That's
think.
what we should see our troops doing.
Yeah, and Bill Clinton is the guy who said he loathes the military. He's on record as having said that when he was before he decided he wanted to be president of the United States. So, I mean, I'm just wondering, there had to be some pushback from, I know he's the boss, he's the commander-in-chief, but you wonder how the hierarchy of the military didn't convince him that that's a really stupid idea, or did some of them go along with it?
I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I would imagine that probably some went along with it. He conferred with others before he did it. Who knows? I have absolutely no idea. All I know is that it needs to be changed, and it needs to be changed yesterday, because Americans have been killed. And this will, unfortunately, happen again unless we make another change.
Well,
our enemies are not stupid.
Yeah, the first two make it more likely that there's going to be another one because it was successful. They got what they wanted.
Well, we go another step farther. Here's a real controversial statement by your guest. Stop bringing them to this country to train them here.
No.
Train them in their own country. Train them on military bases in Europe. We have a problem here. This individual, what really angered me about this more than anything else, John, was the fact that we had actionable intelligence on this individual. We knew, and it always seems to be the case. Everybody points it out after the fact. That high view, that rear view mirror is high definition vision every single time. We get to go back and we get to look back and see, this guy had. We knew what his social media trail was. He was still here in this country. Now, you've got to wonder why. Why is that happening? You had 15 Saudis out of 19 hijackers on 9/11 murder 3,000-plus Americans. You have another Saudi. We have a problem. You cannot vet everybody. It's like a background check with a gun. Every mass killer that they like to point to, that they say we need universal background checks, which is a joke, every single one of the killers that they use as a reference have all passed the background check over the last 25 years. Background checks don't tell us what somebody's going to do in the future. Mm-hmm. It is impossible to look backwards to vet somebody looking forward. Train these people on their bases, or train them in Qatar, train them in Dubai, train them in Saudi Arabia. We have joint bases. Train them somewhere else and stop this madness in America. Americans are being killed. Isn't that a terrible thing to say, that I don't want Americans to be killed by terrorists on our own soil? My gosh, have we not learned anything?
We're talking to Mark Walters. He's the national board member for the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, also a spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation. So what have you guys done to try to put some more pressure on the powers that be to try to change this?
Right now, a new press release just went out by Alan Gottlieb a few moments ago. Literally, I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. But we continue to fight in the halls of Congress. We continue to fight in courtrooms across the country to stop this madness. We simply look at what's happening in Virginia right now. As American citizens, we are watching a powder keg. We are watching history in the making in the state of Virginia. We are watching an absolute power grab by a bunch of overreaching socialists who have gained power in Virginia for the first time in 26 years. The rest of the country needs to look at Virginia like we are and see what's occurring. When the Democrat Party took control in Virginia, when their legislative session begins next month, they're not working on fixing the infrastructure of Virginia, making sure the tunnels down at Tidewater are safe. They're not worried about schools and crumbling roadways. They're not worried about the parks that need fixed out all throughout the rest of the state of Virginia and the highway system. They're not worried about the healthcare system. They're not worried about welfare and taking care of their citizens. Their first order of business is 8 gun control bills to disarm their law-abiding population. This is a legitimate question to ask. What is it about their ideology that requires them to disarm you? What is it they want to do? That their first goal is to focus on gun control, which affects no one but law-abiding citizens. Those are legitimate questions to ask. Now, what you have in the state of Virginia is you have over 80 counties over the course of the last week. Hundreds of thousands of Virginia citizens across the state have packed commissions offices and town councils and city councils across the state. Over 80 counties in Virginia have declared themselves Second Amendment sanctuaries, vowing not to enforce the overreaching newly elected Democrats in the General Assembly and in the governor's office. And it is a powder keg in Virginia. You have sheriffs that are now telling their politicians they will deputize thousands of their citizens, and they will not enforce these unconstitutional gun controls, where this is not what the state needs to be focusing on, is attacking law-abiding people. What's happening in Virginia is the model they want. What we're seeing in Virginia is what would happen if the Democrat Party took control of the White House and both houses of Congress. This is what they have in store for us. And it is a very volatile situation right now, because you now have a Democrat in Virginia telling I think it was the New York Times, that the governor needs to prosecute and needs to call in the National Guard against these counties. This is what the Democrat now calling for force to be used, government force to be used to prosecute those individuals pushing back about their enactment of gun control. It's a very dangerous situation in Virginia, and all of America needs to be watching it very, very carefully.
And these are the same people who are pretty much okay with sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants who commit
it's okay
crimes.
If you have an illegal immigrant, it's okay to give them a driver's license and feed them your welfare money. These are people that are in this country illegally, people who have violated our federal law to be here. That's okay. But to stand up for your constitutional rights in this country, they'll send the National Guard in. These are tyrants. This is how tyrants work. This is why we have a Declaration of Independence. It's why we have a Constitution. And quite frankly, it's why the Second Amendment was written as number 2 in the Bill of Rights. You know, so it's interesting. The irony is not lost on me, and it shouldn't be lost on you or you listeners, that the Bill of Rights Day is in 3 days. To December 15th, 1791 is Bill of Rights Day.
Oh,
Virginia was the state that tipped it and ratified. Virginia was the one state, was the final vote that ratified the Bill of Rights. And here we are today watching Virginia's newly elected governors in the General Assembly, the Democrat Party, their first order of business when they take the reins of power, when they open up the legislative session, is to go after law-abiding people and take away their guns. It's a very, as I said, and you now have 8 counties. I want you to put that in perspective and try to wrap your head around that. You have 80 counties who have said no.
Wow.
Come and take it. So this is a powder keg in Virginia. We have to be very, later today, and I've been talking about it on my show for the last week, actually. And we'll continue to do so as each day goes by. The rhetoric is amping up, and we don't know how this is going to turn out.
So where do you see the sanctuary county idea going? How far is it going to go? If it's already in Virginia, but Virginia's made it, the government there has made it pretty clear what they want to do. But will this create the situation where it's going to kind of sweep the country and there will be pressure?
Virginia's not the first state to. Yeah, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked it. Virginia's not the first state to do this.
Yeah, I know.
We've already seen 31 of 33 sheriffs in New Mexico do the same thing. Say, I will not enforce the state's illegal gun controls in my county. We've seen it in Colorado. We've seen the vast majority of counties and sheriffs in Washington State, and now Virginia, which is just in overdrive and hyperdrive because of what the Democrats are trying to do. The difference now is you have Mark Herring, the Attorney General, saying these laws, when they pass, will be enforced. And you have a sheriff that stepped up and said, I will deputize thousands of my citizens. Now, what will happen is up now to the Democrats who are trying to enact their unconstitutional edicts and to try to force them down the throats of millions of Virginians who want nothing to do with this. So it's, as I said, if this were to happen, if you see the Democrats take power and go after gun control at the federal level, then you're going to see this blow up across the country by thousands and thousands and thousands of counties. What we're seeing happen in Virginia, we are literally watching what they want to do to us if they take federal power. This is what they have in store. So pay very careful attention to this. It's not going away anytime soon, and it could get really ugly.
You know, we only have about a minute and a half left here, but it's always amazing to me ignorant so many people are about why the Second Amendment exists. And they think it's for self-defense or hunting deer. And they just, if they would get the idea that it exists to prevent the tyranny that you're talking about, then it would be a lot easier to deal with. But the people are not educated on what the Second Amendment was intended to do and what it's still supposed to do.
The Second Amendment has worked since it was ratified in 1791. It has kept this country safe and free. And that's what it was designed to do. There are vicious attacks against our Second Amendment rights and freedoms today, as we're witnessing in Virginia. And my guess, this is my guess of what's going to happen when this all shakes down, is the Democrats, when they look back, are not going to be, what are they going to do? Jail 80 sheriffs? What are they going to do? Put away 1 million, 2 million, 3 million Virginians for violating? It's not going to happen. They're talking a big game. They're seeing the people push back, and many of them are going to lose elections. I'm going to guess that you're going to see Virginia flip back red in 2020. When the rest of the state house election goes up for cycle again, or parts of it go up for cycle again, is what you're going to wind up see happen, because they're not going to put up with this. People are awake in Virginia right now, and those who didn't vote because the turnout was so low have learned a very, very valuable lesson that elections have consequences.
Should be interesting. Mark, I'm out of time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Oh, anytime, John. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, that's Mark, the National Board Member for the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms, and he's with the Second Amendment Foundation. We'll be right back.
What if you could wake up without the burden of owing over $10,000 in taxes to the IRS or state? Call the trusted name in tax resolution, Anthem Tax Services, 866-255-3658. With over 30 years of experience in tax preparation and tax law, we are ready to negotiate your tax debt and reach a settlement that makes sense for you.
Anthem saved me nearly $17,000 and settled my debt with the IRS for just $100.
866-255-3658. We are the only company that is confident enough in our services to offer a 100% money-back guarantee if we can't put you in a better position than where you started. All you need to do is call for a free consultation. Call 866-255-3658. You may even qualify to save up to 99% off your tax debt. Call Anthem today and we'll also take care of your tax case study for free, saving you hundreds of dollars. 866-255-3658. 866-255-3658.
They blow into town with the wind, rain, and hail. And out-of-town storm chasers going door to door, often posing as a local company offering a quick fix to desperate homeowners. If you've had damage to your roof, windows, siding, or gutters and downspouts, you may be eligible to get them replaced or repaired free of charge. Just be careful who you call. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com for a free inspection from one of their highly trained appraisers. With over 50 years in home remodeling, Windows R Us is the area's premier exterior replacement company for roofs, siding, gutters and downspouts, doors, and of course windows. If damage isn't your issue and you just want something new, you'll love their no-pressure approach, no hidden fees, and one of the fastest turnaround times in the industry. A company who will never skip town when it comes to honoring their warranty. Visit WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com. Mention STAG for an additional 10% off. Windows R Us, proud sponsor of the Jerk of the Week, heard every Friday on the John Steigerwald Show. WindowsRUsPittsburgh.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Do you have brain fog and during the day? If so, take back your vitality and clarity with all-natural Cola Gel, newly discovered jellyfish collagen peptides that aids with brain and memory support. Cola Gel is all-natural with no side effects. Edible jellyfish collagen uniquely supplies the body with multiple collagen peptides and naturally occurring minerals that fuels our cellular system with energy-rich compounds. Jellyfish collagen is a nutritive formula that promotes optimum neurological activity and improves cognitive memory. Receive your first bottle free plus shipping by visiting longevitybynature.biz and enter promo code COLAGEL. That's longevitybynature.biz and enter promo code COLAGEL. KOLLAGEL. Get your first bottle free plus shipping by visiting longevitybynature.biz, promo code COLAGEL. Eliminate brain fog and lack of energy with COLAGEL at longevitybynature.biz. That's longevitybynature.biz.
As we enter this holiday season,
we've stopped to reflect on what we're grateful for. This is Greg Trzynski, and at the Original Mattress Factory, we're grateful for you, our loyal customers. With your support, more than half of our business comes from repeat customers and referrals. And we have been hometown made for nearly 30 years. So thank you. We look forward to building new relationships and providing the high quality and great value that you've come to expect from the Original Mattress Factory. We wish you and your family a happy and healthy holiday season and a wonderful new year.
Here at the Original Mattress Factory, we want to know, is it better to give or to receive? This holiday season, one local winner won't have to choose. In the spirit of the season, we will be giving away a queen-size orthopedic luxury firm mattress set to a local winner and providing another set to be donated to a nearby charity. Visit any Original Mattress Factory location by December 18th to enter and for all official rules. No purchase is necessary to win, but eligibility restrictions do apply. We wish you and your family a holiday season that's filled with cheer and goodwill.
The John Steigerwald Show, AM 1250, The Answer.
A couple of things here before we go, real quick. Some good news from across the pond. Looks like Boris is going to win over there, Boris Johnson. The polls said it was going to be close, and as the exit polls are showing that it's going to be a blowout, and he's going to win. And if he had lost, Britain was going to become socialist for the first time in I don't know how long, but Labour got destroyed. Corbyn was his opponent. And he's done. So I've never understood the whole Brexit thing. They voted that they wanted to leave the European Union, and for some reason it didn't matter. And the politicians were able to just tell the people that, well, sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. I know you voted for this, but we're not doing it. So it looks like they're not going to be able to prevent it now. It looks like a big win for Boris Johnson over there. Probably good news for Trump, too, because he's kind of a populist and very much an anti-socialist. So over there across the pond, they wised up and they're going to get out of the European Union. Why anybody would want to give up your sovereignty and let a bunch of people in Brussels from countries all over the planet over there decide what you're going to do, I never understood. And then the other thing, real quick before we go, Roger Goodell said at the winter meetings today that the NFL is done with Colin Kaepernick. He doesn't see him getting another chance. He said they gave him a tryout a while back, and that's it for Colin. XFL looks pretty good, Colin. Maybe you ought to give them a call. It's coming up in a couple of months. Talk to you tomorrow.
The John Steigerwald Show is a production of AM 1250, The Answer, and Salem Media Group.
Chris Abernethy of Abernethy and Hagerman. You don't want the government deciding what happens to your estate or how much they will take.